here. During a team meeting minutes ago, Jets players were informed that Zach Wilson is not starting Sunday's game versus the Chicago Bears. Sources telling ESPN Wilson, who's had a 5-2 record as a starting quarterback this season with both losses coming versus the New England Patriots, is being benched. Your reaction?
I have no problem with this decision. I will say to you that yesterday, Keyshawn gave me food for thought in terms of the kind of impact it could potentially have and how you don't make that decision yet. You might wait until after the game against Chicago, after you warned him and gave him an opportunity to respond. But even though he gave me food for thought and I understand where he's coming from, I love this decision because here's the problem. Salah knows the team doesn't believe in Zach Wilson right now. That's the reality of the situation. When you show up in that post-game conference after playing the way that you played and you get asked whether or not you let the team down when you scored just 3 points, you couldn't do anything all day long. You completed 55% of your passes on the season. You ain't doing anything, but you pointing the finger elsewhere. You showed that you ain't man enough to lead yet. Now, he's only 22. So that's not the book is not closed on Zach Wilson. He can resurrect himself and come back from this eventually. But I think this season, as the New York Jets move forward and they try to compete with Miami, New England, and Buffalo for a playoff spot, because it is not beyond conceivable, guys, that all 4 teams in the AFC East can make the playoffs. All 4 of them. Because who's the wild card out of the North, the South, or the West? The fact of the matter is, it's entirely plausible that this could happen. I don't blame the Jets one bit. It would be one thing if he performed badly and said, yo, man, I got to do better. I stunk up the joint. I lost this game for us. Okay, I think if he had said that, I think he's starting this week and you following Keyshawn's path and you give him another chance. But the fact that he did that so turned the collective whole of the New York Jets off, it left them no choice but to say, we got to yank his behind for this game.
Yeah, sitting next to Robert Saleh, baseball cap on, charting plays. Okay, I get it. I understand that. For me, I guard against a young player at the quarterback position. This isn't Elijah Moore. This isn't Keyshawn Johnson, a receiver being benched for dropping too many balls and nothing like that. This is a franchise, supposedly quarterback that you took with your second pick overall after moving on from Sam Darnold. You said he was your franchise. You in the midst of a playoff run. On top of that, you're getting ready to play against a Chicago team that's not very good, and then Justin Fields may not be in the lineup. So I was hoping that they would give him an opportunity to show the team that he's learned from his mistakes, post-game press conference, and play against the lonely Chicago Bears. But clearly, this type of move signals to me that they may be thinking about something else down the line as the season wears on. Because if all of a sudden, whoever that starting quarterback is, whether it's Joe Flacco or Mike White, which I heard that White was a better quarterback in training camp from the eyes of the people that I saw and talked to that was in the Jets, that been around them and said, hey, this dude is actually better, but they never going to do that because he was a number 2 pick. Now you putting yourself in a situation where this next quarterback take them to the playoffs and go on a nice run. What are you going to do during the offseason now? That's because when you think about quarterbacks, both you, Stephen A., and Doggy, y'all been around this league for a very long time and watching QBs. Young quarterbacks don't respond well with things like this happening. You lose them. The Josh Rosens of the world. I'm not saying Zach Wilson is Josh Rosen, but Josh Rosen got benched. He never recovered. Never, ever recovered. Young quarterback in Matt Leinart got benched for Kurt Warner. Never recovered. They just don't recover, but maybe they know something more than I do because they're in the building with him. Maybe he's tougher than what we think.
Yeah, I'm with you, Keyshawn. I'm surprised. And I think Stephen A. is right. I think the post-game, which was awful, he's got a little chip on his shoulder and he hasn't earned it. He's always mocking the media. You know, what do they know about football and everything else? He's a little immature. But I thought they'd give him another go at it. I really did. No, he was awful against the Patriots. I mean, everybody killing Salah with the punt. They lost the game because Wilson had 2 yards of offense in the second half. But I'm with you. I'm a little surprised. I guess Mike White's going to start. It won't be Flacco. They have him as the backup. I'm with you. Listen, I'm not saying Salah's wrong. It's a gutsy call. It's a gutsy
No,
call, but
it's
I'm
just a gutsy call.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, and when you think about it, though, Stephen A., this is also coming on the heels of what Justin Fields reportedly said to his team in the locker room after the game, not even knowing what Zach Wilson said. He went in the locker room, if you hadn't heard, to talk to his team and say, it was on me, man. I lost this game. Y'all gave me an opportunity to win, and I lost it, opposed to the difference with Zach Wilson. So I'm sure when they looking at some of that, they sitting there saying, well, this dude ain't a leader, but this other guy that we probably should have drafted is more of a leader.
And by the way, the Chicago Bears have lost 4 straight, 7 of their last 8, right? And with the exception of the loss against the Cowboys when they gave up 49 points, they've been competitive. Miami, Detroit, Falcons, all of those games came down to the wire. And by the way, in those games, in their last 5 games, Chicago's offense scored 33, 29, 32, 30, and 24. Justin Fields is growing and developing, and obviously he's accepting accountability. The Jets made a mistake passing on that brother.
Yeah, I'm surprised. This surprises me. And the Jets
And
now.
Wilson clearly making a mistake how he handled the media.
Terrible. Terrible.
And he'll have Sunday to think about it. Adam Schefter again reporting that he will not be starting on Sunday. Keyshawn, hope you and your family have an amazing Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you next week.
Gobble,
Still to come,
gobble.
the NFL MVP
All right,
race
turkeys.
has always been quarterback dominant. But is it possible that can change this year? Someone says don't even think about it. And Lakers guard Patrick Beverley ejected for shoving Suns center DeAndre Ayton to the floor late in Los Angeles' 115-105 loss. Talk to me.
Can't do that. Repeat offender. I don't see him getting just a one-game suspension. I see it being more than that because it's the second time and it was behind the back. But, you know, what do you say? At the end of the day, if you're the NBA, you can't have this because this is the kind of stuff that will only get worse if you allow it. That's how the NBA is going to see it, and I expect them to come down with a heavy hand on Patrick Beverley.
So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, as we get ready to rock.
It's Thanksgiving, so let's eat. Eat on 3, baby. Intercepted by the Lions. And the end goes unbelievable. They caught it. Game day on Thanksgiving, baby. We're going to go get this one.
Great slate. Over halfway through the season, the preseason favorites in Buffalo remain the favorite at plus 38, followed closely behind Kansas City. Meanwhile, Dallas has improved from plus 1,400 to plus 1,000 after the huge victory over Minnesota, and Dak has Super Bowls on his mind.